Today's Pokemon What If is going to be quite dark. But then again, Pokemon has always been dark since the very beginning. No, stop, listen. Just because there's no blood and guts and excessive amounts of gore doesn't mean that Pokemon isn't dark. In the first generation, there was a literal tower filled with graves of dead Pokemon. Pokemon is dark. But today's Pokemon What If will be detailing what would happen if Mewtwo had actually killed Ash and he didn't come back. Before I get into that, I would like to encourage everyone to check out my previous episodes and Season 1 of Pokemon What If. Now, what if Mewtwo had killed Ash on New Island? A little backstory. Pokemon, the first movie, was, well, it was the first movie, featuring the origins of Mew and Mewtwo. If you're unfamiliar with either, basically Mewtwo is a clone of the first created Pokemon, Mew, a Pokemon that has links to every other Pokemon through historical evolution, genetics, and ancestry. Mewtwo was a clone using Mew's hair and human DNA, creating the perfect fighting machine. Whether Mew or Mewtwo are stronger, it's fair to say that it's a stalemate, as the movie's intention is to explain that the clones are not stronger than the originals, and they are just equal to each other in power. However, within the movie itself, Mewtwo, being a clone, wants to prove that it is a superior being and explains how it became a trainer, bent on proving its superiority. This leads to Mewtwo deciding it will destroy the world or rule it or something like that. It isn't exactly fleshed out because Mewtwo doesn't really go through with the plan at the end, and the point is that just Mewtwo's the villain, so it doesn't matter what he was going to do, it didn't happen. Subjectively, Mewtwo sends invites out to some of the strongest trainers, and somehow Ash gets invited. Yeah, I know. I'm laughing too. This was the early days, folks. I can't help but think that maybe Giovanni or Blaine or Lance or Lorelei or Gary should have been invited. Why didn't they get an invite? Originally, I thought, what if Mewtwo had said, screw the completion of proving it can be a trainer and defeating the original Pokemon with clones, and instead, I was just going to have Mewtwo just destroy the world, but that was too short and not really fun. So instead, I want to begin at the end where the movie events play out until Ash turned to stone. Ash looked around. Mewtwo was busy fighting with Mew, and the clones fighting with the originals as well. He saw it. He knew that Mewtwo was wrong. He ran to the center. The clones, the originals, they were all too tired from battling. He had to stop the fight. Stop this battle! As he ran to prevent Mew and Mewtwo's pending attack, Ash was hit by the full force and fell to the ground, turning to stone. Mewtwo had seen what had happened, but in that moment noticed that Mew was distracted and used that moment to move in and finish off Mew. Mewtwo hit the Pokemon with a full forced attack, knocking it out. As Mewtwo stood watching Pikachu cry and shocking Ash over and over, it quickly realized that what it had done was something it never knew or had knowledge about. Stone, it thought, thinking deeply. It didn't make sense to Mewtwo. Stone. No Pokemon can turn things into stone. No attacks. Mewtwo looked around. Pikachu was crying. Ash's friends were upset and angry, and all the Pokemon were too tired to even muster up tears. Mewtwo grabbed Ash's Pokedex, and using its psychic powers, it combed the encyclopedia for any link to Pokemon turning into stone. Nothing, it scowled. Mewtwo again looked around as every Pokemon and person stared in great fear. I didn't mean to. I didn't want it to happen like this. Mewtwo knew its rage and desire for revenge had gotten out of hand. Looking at Ash again, thinking, this is an unknown power. Mew's strength combined with mine did this? I will correct this mistake, Mewtwo thought. I have won the bet, I have won the war, but I am a hypocrite, for it's not why you were born, but what you do with your life that matters. And I am ashamed. A great sadness overtook Mewtwo as it continued staring at what it had created. This was supposed to be the liberation of us clones. No longer second-rate. We were to prove our worth, then show the world that it can't treat us like experiments. But I created you clones and used you just the same. I vow to fix this. I vow I will find a way. Several years later, Mewtwo sits on New Island with the cloned Pokemon. Everyone else went home years ago, Mewtwo thought. After combing the internet archives, every database that held information on a Pokemon, their attacks, and legends of Pokemon yet to be discovered, Mewtwo still could not find a cure for Ash. Pikachu never left his side. Years prior, Mewtwo had learned that Ash sacrificed himself to save Pikachu, that many times Ash had sacrificed his own health in an attempt to save a Pokemon. What a fool I was. Ash was a good human. Ash wasn't my enemy. Mewtwo had visited every region, attempted to clone a proper Mew, and tried to locate a cure for Ash being turned stone. But nothing, only failure. Ash was a reminder to Mewtwo. The pain of revenge burned, it hurt, and Ash was the one thing Mewtwo could not undo. A visitor came to New Island. Visitors never come. They all know what happened. News took a long time to spread, but the world learned of what Mewtwo had done. It was a professor. Oak, he said his name was. Mewtwo questioned why a professor would visit. Perhaps knowledge? Oak spoke with Mewtwo. Have you found a cure for Ash's condition? No. I wouldn't think so, but I had hoped there was something I had not known myself. Listening to Oak's words were not comforting to Mewtwo at all. Hear me, Mewtwo. You may be one of the, if not the, most intellectual creatures on this planet, but there are things you cannot do. But I can help you. I know how to save Ash. Tell me, Mewtwo eagerly requested. When I was a child, I encountered Ash. Liar! You are an old man. How can this be? I should destroy you here and now for lying to my face. It is no lie. You were looking for a cure to a condition created out of hatred, but no cure exists. There's only one other option to prevent this from ever happening. Mewtwo thought to itself for a moment. How? Oak removed a picture of him, Ash and Celebi together. You know this Pokemon? Yes? Celebi? It's considered a legend that doesn't exist, but Ash and I met it, along with several others. We traveled through time, and now you must do the same. Find Celebi, return to the moment that you killed Ash, and prevent it from happening. Mewtwo entertained several scenarios in his mind. Oak knew exactly what he was thinking. Yes, this timeline will cease to actually exist, and only be a theory, or what-if scenario. But it's fine, this world needs Ash. Without him, many disasters will happen, and continue to happen, starting with Celebi. The consequences to not saving Ash means that I, in turn, will never meet him, and we never save Celebi. Team Rocket would never create you, because the one who captured Celebi will use its power to rule the past, present, and future. Do you understand now? It's destiny. You must save Ash. Mewtwo ran the likelihood of Professor Oak being correct, and came to the conclusion that there was no reason for him to lie. Within a few moments, Mewtwo flew to the Elix Forest, finding Celebi's shrine. Looking about, trying to find Celebi, Mewtwo telepathically told every Pokemon in the region to locate Celebi and bring it to the shrine. And within minutes, Celebi arrived. Explaining the situation in a few seconds, Celebi nodded, and already knowing the events that would come to pass. Celebi knew that Ash must not die on New Island. And just like that, Celebi took Mewtwo back to that moment, though they were hidden this time. Mewtwo was at a distance where no one could see it or Celebi. Ash was again running, but it was too late. Mewtwo looked at Celebi. We must go back a few moments earlier. This is how he died. But Celebi just pointed. It wasn't what Mew and I had done in the past to kill Ash. It was what I had done after I attacked and killed Mew. Mewtwo quickly used its psychic powers to hold back the attack its past self was going to do. And moments later, the Pokemon's tears had restored Ash back to normal. It had worked. Oak, Celebi, they were right. Mewtwo had saved Ash, and in turn the world. As Mewtwo started fading, it looked at Celebi and thanked it for its help, then slowly disappeared. For it was no longer a real scenario that occurred, but now just a what-if. In its final moments, Mewtwo had realized and seen what it should have in the beginning, that if Ash was a good human and willing to sacrifice himself for his friends, then there must be others like that too. Finally at peace, future Mewtwo had faded into nothing, as the events of the movie then finished playing out. Life is what you make of it. Born rich or poor, it's your decision to do better for the world or turn your back on those who need you the most. What did you think of that Pokemon What If? Should Mewtwo have destroyed the world? Should Ash have been cured? Let me know your thoughts and Pokemon What If ideas below. I hope you enjoyed this Pokemon What If. Please leave a like and share this wherever you can. Twitter, Facebook, forums, anywhere. anywhere. I've been PokeStuff, and thanks for watching.